Welcome to Coins News Daily. Top most valuable Washington State quarters in United States history. If you love rare coins and hidden treasure discoveries, this channel is for you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment below if you found a valuable quarter in your collection. Thanks with love for watching. Red Heart. Coin 1. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and surprising coins ever released in modern American history. If you love rare coins, hidden treasures, minting mistakes, and real money stories that can change your life, then stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal might completely change the way you look at the change in your pocket. We are talking about the United States of America Washington State quarter dollar, connected to the Kansas design, issued between 1861 and 2005 in historical reference, and part of the legendary 50 state quarters program launched by the United States Mint. This series became one of the most collected coin programs in American history, but among millions and millions of coins, a few became extremely rare and incredibly valuable. First, let's understand the background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. But in 1999, the design changed into something revolutionary. Each year, 5 states were honored in the order they joined the Union. In 2005, one of those states was Kansas. The 2005 Kansas State Quarter features a powerful image of the American bison and a sunflower, representing the state's nickname, the Sunflower State. At first glance, it looks like a normal quarter. But collectors know something very special happened with this coin. Before we go into errors, let's talk about mintage. The Kansas State Quarter was struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Millions were produced. That usually means low value. But here is where it gets exciting. Certain minting errors turned ordinary quarters into collector treasures. Point 1 of the most famous errors is the "In God We Rust" variety. Yes, you heard that correctly. Due to a grease-filled die error, the letter T in the word trust was partially or completely missing. Instead of "In God We Trust," the coin reads "In God We Rust." This small mistake created massive excitement among collectors. Imagine finding that in your pocket change. This error occurred primarily at the Philadelphia Mint. Because it was unintentional and not caught immediately, several examples entered circulation before the problem was corrected. Now let's talk about why errors like this matter. Coins are mass-produced with precision. When a mistake happens, it creates rarity. And rarity creates demand. And demand creates value. The Kansas quarter also had other minor die errors, including weak strikes and die cracks, but the "In God We Rust" error remains the most famous and desirable. Condition matters more than you can imagine. A circulated Kansas error quarter might not look impressive. But if you find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used in daily transactions, the value increases dramatically. Professional grading companies evaluate coins based on surface quality, strike sharpness, luster, and preservation. Collectors search for high-grade examples, especially those graded MS65 and above. Now let's talk about silver-proof versions. The San Francisco Mint produced special proof coins for collectors. Some were struck in 90% silver. These were not meant for circulation. They were sold in proof sets. If preserved perfectly, these silver-proof Kansas quarters can command impressive premiums. But here's the part everyone waits for: how much are they actually worth? Regular circulated Kansas quarters without errors are generally worth face value 25 cents. Uncirculated examples in high mint state condition can sell for $5 to $20 depending on quality. The famous "In God We Rust" error in circulated condition typically sells for $50 to $100 depending on clarity of the missing letter. High-grade uncirculated examples of the error have sold for $200 to $400. Exceptional specimens graded MS67 have reached auction levels around $700. Silver proof Kansas quarters in perfect deep cameo condition have achieved prices between $30 and $80. Now let's step back and understand something powerful. This is not an ancient gold coin. This is not a 200-year-old silver dollar. This is a modern quarter that people ignored, and that is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Hidden among everyday money can be small treasures. The Kansas-Washington State Quarter proves that even modern coins can hold serious value when rarity, condition, and demand combine. collectors love this coin not just for its value but for its story. The accidental removal of a single letter turned a standard patriotic phrase into one of the most talked about mint errors in modern times. That if you are a collector, here is what you should do: check every 2005 Kansas quarter you find. Look closely at the phrase "In God We Trust." Use magnification. Examine the T in trust carefully. Check for strong luster. Avoid heavily scratched or damaged coins. Consider professional grading if the coin looks exceptional. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, artistry, and the thrill of discovery. The Kansas State Quarter connects American heritage, wildlife symbolism, and modern minting technology in one small piece of metal. And remember, rarity is not always about age. It is about scarcity and condition. Some collectors spend years searching for the perfect example. Others discover one completely by accident. So next time you receive change, don't just toss it aside, look at it carefully. Study it. Respect it, because that simple quarter might be more than 25 cents. It might be a hidden collectible with real market value and real auction history behind it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Washington State Quarter Kansas edition, make sure you continue learning, continue searching, and continue appreciating the incredible world of numismatics. The treasure hunt is real. The market is active. And your next valuable coin might already be in your pocket. Stay curious, stay sharp, and keep collecting. Coin 2. We are diving into a coin that most people have seen, most people have spent, and almost nobody has truly looked at closely. I'm talking about the United States Washington State Quarter, focusing especially on the Washington Quarter series from 1964 through 2006, including the Nevada State Quarter. And trust me, by the end of this video, you might never look at your pocket change the same way again. The Washington Quarter is one of the most collected coins in American history. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, this coin became a permanent part of American currency. But our story begins in 1964. The last year quarters were struck in 90% silver for circulation. That single detail alone makes 1964 Washington quarters incredibly important. Why? Because after 1964, rising silver prices forced the United States Mint to remove silver from circulating quarters. From 1965 onward, quarters were made with a copper core and nickel outer layer. That means every 1964 quarter you find is automatically a silver coin. And silver coins carry intrinsic value beyond face value. Now here is where it gets interesting. Not all 1964 quarters are equal. Some are common. Some are rare. And some are incredibly valuable because of condition, mint mark, or errors. In 1964, quarters were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark. Coins from Denver carry a small D mint mark on the reverse below the wreath on earlier designs, and later near Washington's ponytail on obverse for modern issues. Collectors search carefully for high-grade uncirculated examples, especially those graded mint state 65 and above. But the real excitement begins when we talk about errors. There are 1964 quarters struck on the wrong planchet. There are double die obverse examples where the lettering appears slightly doubled. There are coins struck off-center. There are even rare transitional error coins from 1965 that were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. These transitional pieces are extremely rare and highly desirable. Imagine finding a 1965 quarter that is actually silver. Most people would never notice. But collectors who weigh their coins or listen carefully to the sound when dropped on a table can detect the difference. Now let us fast forward to 1999, when the United States launched one of the most successful coin programs in history, the State Quarters program. Over the next 10 years, 50 different state designs were released, 5 per year, honoring each state in the order they joined the Union. In 2006, the Nevada State Quarter was released. The Nevada Quarter design features 3 wild Mustangs running across the landscape, with mountains and the rising sun in the background. It symbolizes freedom, strength, and the wide open spaces of the American West. The design is bold and powerful, and many collectors consider it one of the most beautiful in the entire series. Most Nevada quarters are common. Billions were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. But here is where the collector's eye becomes important. Condition is everything. A Nevada quarter that has been heavily circulated is usually only worth face value. But an uncirculated coin with sharp detail, strong luster, and no contact marks can command a premium. Coins graded mint state 67 or higher are significantly more difficult to find because modern coins often suffer from bag marks during mass production, and then there are error coins. Some Nevada quarters have been found with off-center strikes. Some show clipped planchets. Others display die cracks or cut errors where part of the die broke away, leaving raised blobs of metal on the coin surface. There are also reported examples of struck-through grease errors, where grease filled part of the die and caused missing details in the design. Collectors love errors because they are accidental and unique. No two error coins are exactly the same. That uniqueness drives demand. Now let us talk about silver again. Although Nevada quarters from 2006 were made for circulation in copper nickel clad, the United States Mint also produced special 90% silver-proof versions for collectors. These were sold in proof sets and were never intended for circulation. They have mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs, giving them a beautiful cameo contrast. If you find a Nevada quarter that looks unusually shiny with deep mirrored fields, check the edge. If you do not see the copper stripe, it may be a silver proof, and here is something many people overlook. Grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the better the condition. A difference of just one grade point can mean a huge difference in value. A mint state 65 coin might be worth a small premium, but a mint state 68 example could be worth many times more because so few survive in that pristine condition. Collectors also look for full strike details. On Washington quarters, sharp hair detail and strong eagle feather definition on earlier designs can increase desirability. Let us imagine this scenario. You are searching through a jar of old coins. You find a 1964 quarter. It feels slightly heavier. You check the edge. There is no copper stripe. That is silver. Already, it holds intrinsic silver value. But then you notice it looks nearly perfect. No major scratches. Strong luster. You send it for professional grading. It comes back mint state 67. Suddenly, what was once just 25 cents becomes a highly collectible coin. Or maybe you find a 2006 Nevada quarter with an unusual misalignment. Part of the design is missing because it was struck off center. Instead of spending it, you research it. You discover collectors pay strong premiums for dramatic off-center errors. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, art, and the thrill of discovery. Every quarter tells a story. The 1964 quarter tells the story of the end of circulating silver in America. The Nevada quarter tells the story of state pride in modern coin artistry. But let us be very clear about value. Common circulated 1964 silver Washington quarters are typically worth their silver melt value, which fluctuates with the silver market, often several dollars each. High-grade uncirculated examples can sell for tens to hundreds of dollars depending on condition and certification. Rare transitional 1965 silver era quarters have sold at major auctions for thousands of dollars. Exceptional high-grade specimens have reached tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Most circulated Nevada state quarters from 2006 are worth face value. Uncirculated examples may sell for a few dollars. High-grade certified coins in top population condition can sell for hundreds of dollars. Significant mint error examples have sold for hundreds and in rare dramatic cases over $1,000 depending on severity and demand. Silver-proof Nevada quarters generally sell for several dollars above silver value, with perfect graded examples reaching higher premiums. Remember, coin values change with the market. Auction records depend on condition, rarity, and collector demand at the time of sale. So before you spend your next quarter, take a closer look. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Look at the edge. Weigh it if you can. Study the details. Because hidden among ordinary change could be a piece of American history worth far more than 25 cents. If you love coins, if you love treasure hunting, if you love American history, then keep searching. The next valuable Washington quarter might already be in your pocket right now, and that is the exciting world of the United States Washington quarter from 1964 through 2006, including the powerful and iconic Nevada State Quarter, a small coin with a big story and sometimes, a surprisingly big value. Coin 3. We are diving into one of the most surprising and exciting topics in American coin collecting. A coin that many people have held in their hands, spent without thinking, or tossed into a jar, yet some rare examples are worth far more than 25 cents. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you might look at your pocket change in a completely different way. We are talking about the Washington State Quarter series released between 1999 and 2008 under the United States Mint 50 State Quarters program. But today, our focus is on two very special pieces connected by history and mystery, the 1896 quarter from the Barber series and the modern Washington State Quarter connected to Utah, struck in the era between 1896 historical legacy and the 2007 Utah release. Let's begin with something important. The Washington State Quarter series started in 1999 and became one of the most collected coin programs in United States history. Millions of Americans began checking their change every day. Families, kids, collectors, investors, everyone joined the hunt. Some coins were common. Some were scarce. And a few? Extremely valuable. Now imagine this. You find a quarter dated 2007 with the Utah design. On the reverse, you see two locomotives meeting at Promontory Summit, symbolizing the completion of the first transcontinental railroad in 1869. It looks ordinary. But certain rare examples are anything but ordinary. The 2007 Utah State Quarter was struck in Philadelphia and Denver for circulation, and in San Francisco for proof sets. Most are worth face value. But collectors pay strong premiums for coins in exceptional condition or with rare minting errors. One of the most valuable modern Utah quarters is the double die error variety. A double die happens during the minting process when the die used to strike the coin receives a misaligned impression from the hub. This creates visible doubling in the lettering or design. On certain Utah quarters, doubling can be seen in the inscriptions or details of the locomotives. These error coins are rare because only a limited number escape into circulation before the issue is discovered. High-grade examples graded MS68 by professional grading services are extremely rare. Most quarters in circulation show wear. Finding one in near-perfect condition with sharp details, full luster, and no contact marks is incredibly difficult. Another error to watch for is the off-center strike. When the blank planchet is not properly aligned during striking, part of the design is missing. The more dramatic the off-center error while still showing a visible date, the more valuable the coin becomes. There are also clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a mistake in the blanking process at the mint. These are visually dramatic and highly collectible. Now let's travel back in time to 1896. Long before the Washington Quarter design existed, the United States Mint produced the Barber Quarter, designed by Charles E. Barber. The 1896 Barber Quarter represents a completely different era of American history, the Gilded Age, industrial growth, and a nation transforming rapidly. The 1896 quarter was struck in Philadelphia, New Orleans, and San Francisco. Mintages were far lower compared to modern quarters. Many were heavily circulated. Surviving examples in high grades are scarce and highly desirable. In particular, the 1896 Barber Quarter is one of the key dates in the entire Barber Quarter series. Coins from San Francisco often had lower mintages, and fewer survived in mint condition. Collectors consider high-grade examples extremely rare. Why are these coins so valuable? Rarity. Condition. Historical significance. Demand. These four factors drive the market. Modern Washington State Quarters like the 2007 Utah issue can become valuable because of condition rarity and mint errors. The 1896 Barber Quarter becomes valuable because of age, survival rate, and collector demand over more than a century. Now let's talk real market numbers. An average circulated 2007 Utah State Quarter is worth face value. An uncirculated example in brilliant condition can sell for $5 to $15 depending on grade. A certified MS67 example can bring $100 to $200. An MS68 example has sold at auction for around $2,500. A dramatic off-center or major double-die Utah quarter can sell between $300 and $1,500 depending on visibility and condition. Now for the historic 1896 Barber quarter. A heavily circulated 1896 Philadelphia quarter may sell for $30 to $50. In extremely fine condition it can reach $300 to $400. In mint state grades such as MS63, examples often sell between $1,000 and $2,000. The 1896 Barber quarter is far more valuable. In very fine condition it can sell for around $1,000. In extremely fine condition around $3,000 to $5,000. In mint state grades, prices rise dramatically. MS63 examples have sold for $20,000 to $30,000. Higher grades have reached auction results above $70,000. These are real market prices based on collector demand and public auction records. So what should you do right now? Check your change. Look closely at your Utah quarters. Examine the lettering. Study the details. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, clipped edges, or coins with exceptional condition, and if you ever come across an old 1896 quarter, do not spend it. Have it authenticated and graded. Condition can mean the difference between a small premium and a life-changing amount. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history in your hands. It is about understanding how small differences during minting can create treasures. It is about patience, knowledge, and the thrill of discovery. The next time someone says it is just a quarter, you will know better, because sometimes 25 cents can be worth thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. Stay curious. Stay searching. And always look twice at your change. Coin 4. We are diving into one of the most fascinating modern American coins ever released, a coin that millions of people have held in their hands, spent without thinking twice, and maybe even tossed into a jar without realizing its hidden potential. Yes, we are talking about the United States of America Washington State Quarter Dollar Hawaii 1959 to 2008 edition. And trust me, coin lovers, collectors, and treasure hunters, you will want to listen very carefully to every single detail in this video. In 2008, the United States Mint completed one of the most successful coin programs in history, the 50 State Quarters program. The final coin released in that legendary series was the Hawaii quarter. That alone already gives it historical importance. It marked the end of a 10-year journey that began in 1999 and completely changed modern coin collecting forever. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, originally designed by John Flanagan. The reverse design honors Hawaii as the 50th state, which officially joined the Union in 1959. The reverse shows King Kamehameha I extending his hand toward the 8 major Hawaiian islands, with the state motto Ue Mau Ku Ea o Ka Ena I Ka Pono, meaning the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. This powerful imagery gives the coin emotional and cultural significance far beyond its face value of 25 cents, but now let us talk about what truly excites collectors. Rarity. Errors. Condition. And most importantly, value. The Hawaii quarter was minted in 3 main locations. Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a D mint mark, and San Francisco with an S mint mark for proof versions. While hundreds of millions were produced for circulation, not all of them are equal in the eyes of the market. The Philadelphia mint struck over 250 million pieces. The Denver mint produced a similar amount. Because of these high mintages, most circulated examples are only worth face value. However, condition changes everything. A Hawaii quarter graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services becomes dramatically more desirable. High-grade examples with strong luster, sharp strike, and no contact marks can command serious collector attention. Now here is where things become very interesting. Proof coins from San Francisco were produced for collectors. These coins feature mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs. Standard proof examples are generally affordable, but deep cameo ultra-high-grade proofs can reach impressive prices. Even more exciting are silver-proof versions struck in 90% silver. These coins were sold in special proof sets and are heavier and more valuable due to silver content, but rarity does not only come from mintage numbers. Errors can transform an ordinary quarter into a treasure. Collectors have discovered off-center strikes on some Hawaii quarters. These occur when the blank planchet is not properly aligned during striking, leaving part of the design missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike while still showing the date, the more valuable it becomes. There are also double die errors. In these cases, certain design elements appear double due to misalignment during the die creation process. Look closely at inscriptions such as Hawaii or In God We Trust. Strong doubling visible to the naked eye significantly increases desirability. Another rare find is a clipped planchet error. This happens when the metal blank is improperly cut, leaving a curved missing section on the edge. Authentic clipped errors are highly collectible. Some examples have been discovered with die cracks and cut errors. These raised lines or blobs of metal are caused by damaged dies and can add unique character that collectors appreciate. And then there are transitional errors and wrong planchet strikes. Although extremely rare for the Hawaii quarter, any coin struck on an incorrect metal planchet immediately becomes a major rarity. Collectors should also pay attention to full strike quality. The details in King Kamehameha's features, the lines of the islands, and the lettering should be crisp and sharp. Weak strikes are common, but bold strikes in high mint state grades are much harder to find. Another factor is toning. Beautiful natural rainbow toning on proof or mint state coins can add premium value. Collectors love eye appeal. A stunningly toned Hawaii quarter can sell for multiples of a standard example. Let us talk about why this coin holds emotional value as well. Being the final state quarter released, it symbolizes completion. It represents the closing chapter of a historic program that brought millions of new collectors into the hobby. Many young collectors started their journey searching for state quarters in pocket change. For some, the Hawaii quarter was the last missing piece in their collection. Now imagine finding one in near-perfect condition. Imagine discovering a rare mint error. That excitement is what drives the coin collecting world. While most circulated Hawaii quarters remain worth 25 cents, uncirculated examples in certified high grades can reach impressive levels. Silver-proof versions carry intrinsic silver value plus collector premium. Exceptional error coins can multiply in value depending on rarity and demand. Collectors should always verify authenticity and consider professional grading for high-quality examples. Preservation is key. Store coins in protective holders to maintain condition. And now, as promised, let us talk about real market prices and auction values. Circulated examples are worth 25 cents. Uncirculated mint state examples in average condition are worth $1 to $3. High-grade certified examples in MS67 condition have sold for around $100 to $200. Exceptional MS68 examples have reached approximately $1,000 at auction. Standard proof versions are worth $3 to $10 depending on condition. Silver proof versions typically sell for $10 to $25 depending on silver prices. Major error coins such as strong double dies or dramatic off-center strikes have sold from several $100s up to $3,000 depending on severity and certification, and that is why you should never ignore the coins in your pocket. The Washington State Quarter Hawaii 1959 to 2008 may look ordinary, but under the right conditions, it can be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. If you love coins, history, and the thrill of the hunt, make sure you carefully check every quarter you receive. Because you never know when 25 cents could turn into hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Stay passionate, stay curious, and keep collecting. Coin 5. We are diving into one of the most fascinating modern coins ever released in the United States of America. A coin that many people still have in their pockets, coin jars, and old drawers, but very few truly understand. We are talking about the 2009 District of Columbia and U.S. Territories quarter featuring the Virgin Islands design. This is not just another 25-cent piece. For serious collectors and sharp-eyed treasure hunters, this coin can turn into something far more valuable than its face value. In 2009, the United States Mint completed a historic chapter in American coinage. After the massive success of the 50 State Quarters program, which began in 1999, collectors were already excited. But the mint had one more surprise. 6 additional quarters were released to honor the District of Columbia and 5 U.S. territories, Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, the Northern Mariana Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands quarter stands out immediately because of its tropical and symbolic design. On the reverse side, you'll see a stunning combination of imagery that represents the culture and natural beauty of the Virgin Islands. A palm tree curves gracefully in the background. A yellow cedar tree, which is native to the islands, appears proudly. And in the foreground, a vibrant banana quit bird, also known as the sugar bird, is perched elegantly. The design captures the Caribbean spirit perfectly. The obverse side features the familiar portrait of George Washington, based on the restored 1932 design by John Flanagan. But in 2009, the obverse had a slightly modified inscription layout compared to earlier state quarters, making this final series unique. Now here is where things become interesting for collectors. Most people assume modern quarters are only worth 25 cents. And in most cases, that is true. The Philadelphia and Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins for circulation. The majority of circulated examples are only worth face value. However, condition changes everything. Coins graded in mint state condition by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can carry significantly higher market value. A 2009 Virgin Islands quarter from Philadelphia or Denver in MS67 condition has sold in the market for around $100 to $200 depending on appeal and demand. Exceptional MS68 examples are extremely rare and have reached prices in the range of $1,000 to $2,000 at auction. Now let's talk about the San Francisco Mint versions. These were struck as proof coins for collectors. There are 2 types, clad proof and silver proof. The clad proof versions, when kept in original packaging and in perfect condition, typically sell for around $5 to $15. But the silver proof versions are where serious interest begins. The 90% silver proof Virgin Islands quarter has a much lower mintage compared to circulation coins. In perfect PR70 deep cameo condition, these have sold for around $100 to $300 depending on demand. But what truly excites collectors are error coins. Error coins are accidental variations that occur during the minting process. These mistakes can dramatically increase value because they are rare and highly sought after. One of the most talked about errors for the 2009 Virgin Islands quarter is the double die error. This occurs when the coin die is improperly aligned during production, causing doubling in letters or design elements. Strong doubling visible in inscriptions like United States of America or E Pluribus Unum can significantly increase value. Verified double die examples have sold for several $100s depending on the strength of the doubling. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. When a coin is not properly aligned during striking, part of the design may be missing. Off-center Virgin Islands quarters with 10 to 20% off-center strikes have sold between $100 and $500 depending on visual appeal. Clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the metal blank is missing before striking, are also collectible. These typically trade in the range of $50 to $200 depending on size and condition. There are also rare cases of struck-through errors, where foreign material such as grease or debris interferes during minting. Dramatic struck-through examples can sell from $50 to several $100s. Collectors should also pay close attention to condition rarity. Even without dramatic errors, a perfectly preserved high-grade circulation strike can be worth a surprising amount. Many collectors search bank rolls hoping to find an untouched gem example. Because most 2009 quarters entered circulation during heavy economic activity, finding flawless examples today is more difficult than people expect. Another important factor is low mintage compared to earlier state quarters. While still produced in large numbers, the 2009 territorial quarters had lower mintages than many earlier state issues due to reduced demand during the economic recession. This makes high-grade survivors less common in the long run. If you are searching for this coin, look carefully at the details. Examine the palm tree leaves. Check the bird's feathers for full strike detail. Inspect Washington's cheek and jawline for marks. Even small contact marks can lower the grade significantly. for collectors building a complete modern quarter set, the Virgin Islands quarter represents the final chapter of a decade-long collecting journey. That emotional and historical significance also supports its long-term desirability. Now let's talk clearly about real market values today. Circulated Philadelphia and Denver examples are worth face value. Uncirculated mint state examples in average MS65 condition sell for around $5 to $10. High-grade MS67 examples have sold for around $100 to $200. Exceptional MS68 coins have reached auction results between $1,000 and $2,000. Clad-proof versions typically sell for around $5 to $15. Silver-proof versions in perfect condition have sold for around $100 to $300. Major double-die errors have sold for several $100s. Strong off-center strike errors have sold between $100 and $500. Remember, coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, design, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. The 2009 Virgin Islands quarter may look ordinary at first glance, but under the right conditions, it can become a prized treasure. So next time you receive change, do not ignore your quarters. Take a closer look. You might be holding more than 25 cents. You might be holding a small piece of modern American numismatic history. If you love coins, if you love treasure hunting, and if you want to learn how to spot valuable modern coins hiding in plain sight, make sure you stay tuned. Because the next valuable coin might already be in your pocket right now.